Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for being here. I'm Tim Herrera, the Communications Director for the Sacramento County Office of Education, and I've been lending some communication support for our friends in Butte County. Once the Camp Fire erupted, displacing thousands of students, their families, and school staff, the call for help from Butte County's school community came quickly, as did the response from Sacramento County. So when Butte County's students and staff begin returning to school, they're going to need immediate and ongoing emotional support, and that's what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about the Sacramento Butte Sister Schools program. So we have several people speaking here today. They'll each give brief statements, and then they'll all be available for questions. So right now, I'd like to introduce Dave Gordon, the Sacramento County Superintendent of Schools.
Great. Thank you very much, Tim, and thank you all for being here today. We're here today because Butte County asked for our help. Their superintendent, who I'll introduce in a moment, is an old colleague of ours from here in Sacramento County, Tim Taylor, and we said yes, yes, yes. We are here to help because in our business, we are one, we're united. Butte County's kids are our kids, and we owe them the best we can do to make sure they can recover as quickly as possible. We all know that trauma can wreak havoc on vulnerable young people. And these young people, as Tim will tell you a little bit about, have suffered through one of the biggest tragedies that we've had here in California, certainly the biggest tragedy associated with a wildfire. Many saw their homes incinerated. Now they're without schools, and connecting them with some supportive schools in Sacramento County as partner schools is what we're all about today, and that's what we're announcing today. We want to make sure that the Butte County students who have lost homes and their schools are not going to lose hope. We're going to connect them with our young people here at selected schools from our districts in Sacramento County who have stood up and said, we're here to help, as you will hear. We'll be there for them both physically and emotionally, connect with them by Skype, through assemblies, through visits, through all sorts of connections that we're going to develop and going to make. They'll personally deliver from Sacramento letters of support, donations, emotional comfort, opportunities to visit down here in Sacramento County. We're also lining up established disaster and trauma counselors to be available on call from our districts here in Sacramento County. So for all of these young people, who, as I said earlier, they're our young people. They're not Butte County's young people. They're all our young people, and it's important that we listen to their voices, we hear their voices, we lend them the support, and I can only say how grateful I am to all of our leaders here, our superintendents who you'll meet in just a moment, for stepping up. And when we made the calls, there wasn't even a question. It's we're there. They're our kids. They're our kids as well. So with that, let me bring up Tim Taylor, who is the county superintendent from Butte County, an old friend and colleague, and other superintendents from our county. And I'll throw it to Tim first.
Well, thanks, Dave. And kind of rewind the clock a little bit to get started. After the tragic fire, we were 3 days into it, and we realized that our county office is a great team, but I hit the wall a little bit, and so I called Dave for help because it's so overwhelming and so trauma. And Dave immediately sent some staff up to help us, and I appreciate Dave from the beginning. And today's a big day for us. The teachers are back, the staff's back, the bus drivers are back, and they're all going through an all-day today and tomorrow trauma training. And it's been very emotional up there. And I felt that this press conference was worthy enough to come down here because we're going to need long-term help. We have a new thing we're calling the 3 R's. We're restoring, we're going to recover, and we're going to rebuild. And it starts really with teachers working with teachers. The teachers up there, and have done just a heroic work getting ready for today to come back. And I think one of the challenges we're going to have is we're heading into Christmas, the Christmas season. We got next year. We're going to need some long-term help and support. And when I called Dave and I said, I have an idea about getting teachers connected with teachers and kids with kids, that's a huge safety net of love and support that we're going to ask for. There is no roadmap for this. We talked about some strategies and ideas. As they go into next week and their first day back, we're going to continue to communicate with the schools down here and slowly start that partnership. It's going to be very overwhelming for everybody. And to have the Sacramento community and especially the schools really commit to what we need is just heartwarming. You know, there's so many different stories up there, and I kind of like to throw a few stats at you. 195 of the 200 student athletes at the high school lost their house. That's the magnitude of this. There's a school up there where all 43 staff lost their house, and they have victims, teachers and staff that have done that, and that's how intense it is. And to realize that there's going to be people down here in Sacramento that adopt our individual teachers in classrooms to help those kids long term is going to be one of the most powerful, I think, trauma supports for our kids. And again, we don't have all the specifics, and we shouldn't. We're going to wait for the kids to come back and begin to reach out to the teachers and call these superintendents and say, here's what we know and what we need. So I'm very proud of Dave's leadership here and very honored. And I think it took him 10 minutes. I called him and he called me back in 10 minutes and said these 4 districts are on board. And I really appreciate that. And I do want to say just one other thing. These are the people up there in what we call the Ridge. It's not just Paradise. Little Concal school with 60 kids has to move. These are very strong people. The people that are running the Paradise districts, the charters that have all leaders there lost their home, are very strong people, and the humanness that we need and the resources that we need are broad. And I have full faith that people down here in Sacramento, working with those people, it will be a great partnership for a long time to come. So thank you very much, and Dave's going to introduce some other soups.
Great. Thank you very much, Tim. And I just want to say to the group what an amazing job Tim has done in the face of such great adversity. He's really stepped up, and his team has stepped up. Now I want to introduce the superintendent of the Elk Grove Unified School District, Chris Hoffman.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that very much. And Tim, for your leadership and dedication. Our hearts and thoughts are with you, and appreciate the work that you're doing very, very much. The suffering and the loss of the kids in the community of Butte County, it's immeasurable. But what's also immeasurable is the commitment that Elk Grove Unified School District has in being a partner in this work. And we're glad to do it. I have teachers and schools knocking on my door saying, what do you need, and how can we help? So we're super excited to be part of that. Schools is the business we do, and schools just play such an important role in the lives of our kids, in the lives of our families, and the lives of our communities. And so this is a place where our kids connect, learn, play, have fun. Our educators inspire, and all of that is in question right now as these folks come back to do this work. So I'm just going to be very, very brief and just say we are absolutely committed to whatever resources you and your schools need. We will be there physically, and we'll be there emotionally, and we look forward to doing the work together, because the rebuilding of that community and the sense of belonging is critical to all of us. So thank you very much.
Now, next up is Rick Messer, who's representing Superintendent Kent Kern from the San Juan Unified School District, Assistant Superintendent.
Again, as to Tim, San Juan Unified School District, our hearts go out to you, your family, your communities, everyone in this time. The resilience and spirit of Butte County's educators, students, and families is inspiring and a great example of to our own students and families and communities in dealing with tragedy. There's no other way to express how much support we want to provide you, but we are committed to do so. In the immediate part of this crisis, our community stepped forward to support our Butte County neighbors. Our schools started penny drives across the district. Our Castro football team reached out to your Paradise football team to, understand and support them in this time. The impacts of this tragedy are going to go on for months and years, and as our neighbors get back up and running in Butte County, we want to be a part of that. We want to continue to support you in any way we can. Thank you.
Next up, our superintendent from the Folsom Cordova Unified School District, Sarah Koligian.
Thank you, Dave. Good afternoon, and thank you. And Dave, thank you for inviting Folsom Cordova to be part of this support effort. And Tim, there was no hesitation on our behalf in Folsom Cordova and our communities in Rancho Cordova and Folsom to support the students and staff in Butte County. On behalf of Folsom Cordova Schools, we are proud to partner with our neighboring school districts and the Butte County Office of Education to support the thousands of students and staff displaced by this tragedy. Students are more successful when they know someone truly cares about them. That means tending to students' emotional needs is critical to helping them learn. By establishing meaningful, ongoing connections with students and educators throughout our region, the students of Butte County know there are other children and adults alike who will be there for them in the months ahead. These relationships will extend to the educators of Butte County as well. They have lived through extraordinary trauma themselves and yet continue to work tirelessly on behalf of their students and families. We hope that knowing there is a colleague in Sacramento County to rely upon will provide them a much-needed boost during tough times. We look forward to working with our partner districts, our school leaders, and our educators on creative ways to build lasting relationships with Butte County's resilient school communities. Thank you.
And our last superintendent comes from the Center Unified School District, which is one of our smaller districts up in the McClellan Park area at the top of the county. And Scott is going to work closely with the school that Tim mentioned, the Concow School, which is a unique small school and really needs some special attention. So please welcome Scott Loehr, superintendent from Center.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, and good afternoon. It's really nice to be here as a smaller district to be invited to participate in this. Sometimes I feel like we might get overlooked because of a lack of resources, but when Dave called and asked if we would participate, immediately the answer was yes. What do you need? What can we do? The Center Joint Unified School District has been looking for a way to support the schools of Butte County that have been affected by this horrible tragedy. Our center community is committed to supporting the school families of Butte County, and being partner district is a prime example of how we hope to help, comfort, and support during this time. With the students returning to classes next week, we are committed to lending support, resources, anything we can to help out as the families in that community transition back. So we thank you. We look forward to being a partner and helping out in any way that we possibly can. Thank you.
On another really positive note, one other item that was handed to me as I walked in is from the Intel Corporation, and they are such a great partner to so many of our districts here in Sacramento, and they've now committed, and when we get to the Q&A, I'll have Stephanie come up and answer questions. They've committed to funding training for our school people here in Sacramento to come and work in our community of virtual pen paling and collaboration, and also to make available the same training for Butte County teachers who may be working with our district schools here in Sacramento County, either by Skype or in person, whatever can be worked out. So thank you so much. And Stephanie, why don't you come forward, and I'll open it up now for questions for any of our speakers.
How is the pen paling program? I mean, how is that going to work? How are we going to put kids together? What kids from what schools? Do each one of the districts, or do they have a part of Butte County that they're kind of responsible for?
Yeah, we're gonna work all of that out with the districts and with Tim and his team in the next couple of weeks, because we don't want to jump into something and say it's going to be done exactly this way. We want to customize it to the needs of the particular schools that need the support. So we'll be working on that in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have further details as they emerge. But the main message today is that we're going to do whatever it takes to put schools and teachers in place from Sacramento. As Chris Hoffman said, they're lining up to say, we want to help and put it together in the way that's most helpful for the individual schools.
Is Sac City Unified involved?
Not at this time. We decided to work with four or five districts initially, and we would hope it could spread, but we wanted to work with a manageable group of districts to start with.
My email's got a ton of other schools throughout the state that want to help, and I think as we get this going, these schools, we can funnel kids from the Bay Area, from LA, and help them out to help them out, right? Because we can't handle so much. It's only so much for the magnitude of people asking. We want to kind of really not put too much pressure on these schools as we do this.
Do you have any idea how many kids are going to be returning? Have we reached out to the kids? Where are we in the process of contact with them and then finding places for them to go?
Well, yeah, we're fully prepared for that. We have all schools open. We have people that are spread out throughout the state, and we're waiting for their return. And we don't know the exact numbers. We won't know probably until middle of next week when everything settles down. I have to tell you, there's 32,000 kids coming back to school, not just the 5,700 that are been displaced. All of them have been extremely traumatized. Every single person knows somebody who lost a house, or knows somebody, people that lived there a long time know somebody who's passed away. So we are focused on the kids that lost their homes and lost their district, but every single person, all the administrators were together yesterday, and every single one of them is dealing with a level of trauma that is really difficult to deal with.
There was a mention of athletics earlier, and I believe there was a basketball team that played its first game recently or something.
Yeah, last night. Yeah.
So how did that work? Where do those kids go? Are they practicing at a nearby school, or has somebody adopted them? Or
Yeah, everybody's chipping in. It's interesting. The sports, when we got the 49ers to take on the Paradise football team, it's been wonderful for the student athletes. They've been to Warriors games, Kings games. They've gotten gyms and all that. But Sunday, I met with 60 students and some of the teacher leaders about the visual performing arts, the academic decathlon. It's time for us to embrace all kids. I'm very proud of the athletes. They're going down to the Sharks game pretty soon. But we need to reach out to all kids. And so while I've got the microphone, I had 40 kids ask me this morning, can you get us to Metallica? Because Metallica gave us $50,000, and I'm trying to get to the lead singer because we want kids to have more experiences of some normalcy so Metallica, I need some tickets. Sorry, Dave.
How many schools were actually destroyed in the fire?
Well, I think every single school up there had some type of destruction. I think there's 15 different charter and schools up there, 6 pretty much destroyed, 4 really affected, but when they're still looking for a lot of people that are missing up there, so it's not really obtainable for us to go there. We were told that our dream is to be up there as soon as possible, and the experts are saying you'll be lucky to get some of those schools for a year. So we're making plans to be down in the valley until it's cleared. And as we learned in Sonoma, you could have the school, like the high school has all the houses around it burned, but their school pretty much stayed intact. And they said, you can't put kids around that. We're going to be shoveling dirt, and that has all kinds of toxins. So we're still working closely with the experts on when we will return. It's going to be a long time.
All these kids are going to be placed in other physical buildings somewhere else.
Yeah, again, I didn't have, Dr. Margaret Fortune from the charters is leading the logistics on the charters. So she's got all them placed in places. Michelle John at Paradise has got places for them. With our 7-12, the first 3 weeks, we don't have a brick and mortar for them. We're putting them in a hybrid model. And then we have an announcement coming up in the next day or two where they're going to be long-term permanently. So there's a place for everybody right now. And all 14 districts and 19 charters are accepting kids. Our dream is that they go back to their original teacher before the fire, but that's just not going to happen. The parents are too spread out, but we're going to do our best to get them back to that original teacher.
So you've opened Cedar View and Magalia, you're going to open that school. Is it safe up there?
Yeah, Magalia came out pretty unscathed in the north part. The lower Magalia is a problem, but we seem to have clearance that we can move the kids up there. The problem with that is the staff's going to have to maneuver through everything to get there. And the other way to get there is a 2.5-hour drive around the rural area. So, we're working through that. We would love to have at least that school open. That's about 12, 15 miles from the heart of Paradise. But it looks like we're going to get the green light on that.
And you're going to bus this staff as well as the students, correct?
That's my understanding, yeah.
As far as your 7 through 12, you're going to do distance learning. How do you ensure they have access to computers and wireless?
Well, people have been gracious. I think we're approaching having 5,000 donated laptops. We'd like to have 32,000. But yeah, they'll have 2 centers at this mall where the teachers and mental health counselors will be there all day and early into the evening, and kids will be able to drop in there. But we are going to use more of an online hybrid model for that.
Are they going to be required to come weekly?
I don't know that answer. Sorry. Thanks.
Talk a little bit about the trauma training and how, what the teachers are going to be, how they're going to help the kids that are dealing with, having lost loved ones, homes, their friends now being off who knows where, either in the state or in a different state.
Yeah, sure. Our trauma team has been working nonstop since day one. We brought in Dr. Bruce Perry, who's the national expert. We also have USC that's helped us. So we have the best in the country working with us. They'll be deploying 300 to 500 different trauma counselors throughout the county. We know the initial, in talking to all the experts, they've worked closely with our counselors. They are in a separate training all day today, and then we're working directly with the teachers and everyone else to that. So the trauma world is very well prepared. Again, you prepare and then people come and you have to deal with that.
Have there been fatalities within the district staff?
Not to my knowledge, no. In fact, the heroic work of 500 to 700 public educators, getting those kids off the hill was just phenomenal. They threw them in cars, buses. Some kids had to just go wherever. They got every kid off that hill safely, 4,200 kids off the hill safely. It's truly a miracle. And if you'd like, I'd tell you a quick story. The 2 assistant superintendents, the CBOs, Dave McCready and Tom Taylor, as they were coming, they were the last 2 out from the schools. They were running to get down the hill, and it's a big hill, it's the ridge. They jumped in the back of a pickup truck driven by some random guy, and he went off-road, and flames are going, and they finally got down to the bottom of the hill and made it. And those are 2 humble guys. I recognized them in front of 600 leaders. And of course, they thanked all the teachers and the bus drivers and the aides. The CBO has a good sense of humor. He did ask the guy, hey, you're a great driver. Do you want to be a bus driver? And the guy goes, no, I don't like kids. So, we try to keep our humor through all this.
Yeah, do you have a question?
I did have a question just for clarification. There are going to be 32,000 students returning to classes next week, spread out in area districts. Can you just clarify how they're going to be positioned in schools, where and how, and the hours, and what has been already figured out?
Yeah, first of all, the kids that lost things are by federal law are homeless. So they have they're now protected by federal rights, and the parents can choose the school they want to go to based on where they're temporarily living. We're encouraging parents to go back to their home teacher. Again, it's a lot of moving parts. So everyone has been trained at all of our charters and also all of our schools to welcome them and connect back to that teacher. So the logistics of that is difficult. Again, you got to know these parents are extremely traumatized, and so some have stepped up right away. We're still waiting to hear from others. This week will be big. Once they hear the teachers are back this week, we'll see them drop into school zones. We have enrollment centers. Our homeless foster director is working very closely with kids that don't have anything. So it's a big moving part. We'll have doors open. It'll be regular school hours. And we welcome all kids to come back and ask for help.
How many schools then would be thinking of thousands of homeless students?
I think we have 101 in the county, and so all doors are open. And again, this is our first day back with the teachers. As the kids come in, we'll have better data for you.
The 7 through 12, you say there's
Yeah.
a lease announcement in a day or two?
Yeah.
Will be all on one site? You talked about wanting them all together.
Yes. Yeah, we like, and again, we got kids that need to graduate together, right? So I think the superintendent begged the FEMA, our big goal, the football stadium at Paradise is beautiful, and our whole goal is to get those kids to graduate at that football stadium. So FEMA's gonna, I think, work and really make that happen in May. So that's our end goal. In the meantime, we want to get them all in the same really nice building, and we're very close to making that announcement.
Okay, once again, thank you all for coming out, and we'll be updating you as this project proceeds. Thank you.